Hello and welcome to the Cleveland International Film Festival's Film Slam Streams post-film conversation for I'm Not Lying. My name is Eric Siler, professor of film, media arts, and communications, as well as moderator for this conversation. I am so thrilled to be joined by one of the stars of the film, actress Chen Chen Julian. She is an award-winning actress based in Los Angeles, California. She was born actually in China and she moved to the United States after high school. She attended Santiago Canyon College in Orange County and then transferred to UCLA to complete her BA in communications with a minor in theater. Following her graduation from UCLA, Chen Chen decided to pursue her passion in acting. She then has been in numerous films, including one film called The Sparrows Nesting, and she acted alongside Christopher Atkins. Chen Chen also attended the 2015 Cannes International Film Festival for the short Dead Bird Don't Fly, in which she was the lead. We are so thrilled to have joining us from Los Angeles, California, Chen Chen. Hello, Chen Chen, and welcome.
Hello, Eric. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you're quite welcome. So good to have you here. And we've had a number of students that have watched your films, and I've watched it also. And I'm not lying to say that you did a really good job in this film. Sorry about the pun. But getting into this film, how did you acquire the role? I must mention the director was Wei Yu Sun. How did she hold an audition? Did you know Wei Yu Sun? How did you get a role in this film?
Um, and I got the role. A friend of mine, an actor's friend of mine, who referred me to Tony. We call him Tony, the director. And at that time, I was a little hesitant because it's like you're playing like a no, not even college. You're playing a high school student. So I was like, still high school, not sure. So and then I sent my resume and headshots over, and he held a group audition because the film is based on a family. It's about a family in during the Chinese Revolution, like Cultural Revolution. So he said, "Oh," and then Li Chen, my actor friend, and another guy friend, and he's also an actor who was the film who played the dad in the film, and three of us went to the audition together. So yeah, that's the first round of the audition. It was a group audition. He wants to see the chemistry of the family. So the first round went okay. And yeah, the director told and I was recalling and why he cast me for this role. I had to like message the director yesterday because as actors we always like wonder why we get cast the role and why we didn't get cast the role. And so he told me that I had a good understanding of the relationship between the family members, and also he said I dressed up for the character and the hair, the clothes. He said I left him a good impression for the first time.
Oh, good. So you prepared for this by knowing what the um, film was about, and you
Yeah,
actually put on costume for it. And
yeah, because he said it's about Chinese Cultural Revolution. Because I didn't grow up in that era, but we learned about kind of like something about it, but and at that time I still don't have a strong background on what is like the detail, what's happening back then, and I can't really relate what people went through at that time. Like we watched some films, but it's not enough, not nearly enough. And so I know kind of like that they dress like very different from today, and so I like especially kind of put on some clothes for that.
well, good, very, very good. You've watched this film a number of times, I'm sure. Can you tell us about your performance? How do you think you did, and how did other people react to your performance in the film?
And I think as an actor, most of the time I'm very critical about my performance. So I think in general, I if I have to grade myself of my performance, I will give an like a 7.5 or 8, like between there, because I think it's very tricky of the film because the director said everything is suppressed within within the like underneath. It's not like boiling water boiling that you can see, but everything is underneath. It's like imagining a duck, like a duck on the lake. You see he's very peaceful or whatever, but his feet are paddling like crazy. So it's like kind of you have to find that feeling and putting yourself in that kind of like an era. It's like a little different than the daily life that we're going through. So I really had trouble like finding that like some moments. And other people like my co-star who played the mean girl, like not the mean girl, the American mean girl,
Right, I know what you mean.
a mean female character in the film. And she recently watched the film and told me, like, she said, "Oh my God, I watched the film again, and when I saw the last scene, the ending scene of the film, it made me cry so much," which means a lot to me because I was really not so happy about the last scene because I guess my expectation is a little different.
What were you weren't happy? What were you happy with?
Because I think the last scene is like everything that she's trying to suppress her emotions
Right.
and it's like the ending because the father is dead, mother's dead, everything is like gone in her. Like her, she doesn't have family anymore, and she kind of is the cause of it. I mean, like the culture background was the cause of it, but in terms of directly, she was the cause of it. And so at that time, I felt like she's supposed. I imagine. I think she will be really like can't hold it anymore.
Now, with you eating the note at the end, is that something that was in the script, or is that something that you came up with, or the director came up with?
Oh, he put that in the script,
Okay.
and yeah, he said ate that note because that note will get me in trouble. So the only way to get out of it is to eat it, and just it's like you have to swallow all the secrets that
Right.
like within like yeah. So and yeah, that note was very funny, like a side story. he he said really eat the paper. I was like, okay, okay, I'll eat the paper. But he just he I ate the paper was this master shot, which you can't really see it. It's like so far away. And then he didn't even use it. So that take I ate the paper, but the rest of the take is you don't have to eat it anymore. It's like you should have asked me to eat the paper for the close up.
So you spat it out for the other takes?
Yeah, but the only take that I ate it was like not even in the film. It was really hard to swallow.
I bet it was.
And it's like you're chewing and chewing, chewing, but nothing is really breaking it down. So you have to really swallow.
So some good behind the scenes
Yeah,
information.
yeah.
So, but I'm sure, I mean, you've taken acting classes and so forth. So, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into acting? Did you always want to be an actor when you were a little girl? Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Well, I think when I first had an idea of acting was when I was young, like watching TV shows in China. I think there's one TV show that was playing in different stations, and I don't know that was not live. I thought it was live. I thought people are literally acting and in front of the TV, and then all of a sudden a different channel. Oh wow, how does she do that? Like it's like she's acting in one channel and acting another channel. So I was like very fascinated and with acting at that time. And then I mean, growing up in China, going to art is at that time people like still now like parents doesn't really encourage um, people to go into art. So I never really studied acting related, kind of like dancing, singing, or acting. So when I moved to the United States, I was like, okay, I want to try. Like I took some classes in community college, and then my stepdad, he's American. He was a little conservative too, so he said maybe work behind the camera. So it was like a major in communication, and took minor in acting at UCLA. So at UCLA, I took a class called Film for Acting. So I never done theater, so I was like, theater feels like you have to be big on stage presenting yourself. So I wasn't sure if I can do that. But film for acting, you can, everything is subtle. So when like I did that class and the professor said, yeah, you did really good job as a first time, like, never taken any classes. So that really encouraged me. That was my last quarter at UCLA. So ever after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. So I started taking classes in Hollywood and stuff like that.
Oh, very, very good. We're about halfway through the program. I just want to remind students, please send us your questions and I'll get to them as time allows. In terms of acting, you say you've watched different people on TV and you wonder how they did that. Are there
Yeah.
any particular actors that inspire you that you kind of look up to?
I think American actors, and the person who inspired me is Leonardo DiCaprio, and he and Kate Winslet. I think they fit together because my very first American film or foreign film at that time back in China was Titanic. So I was amazed after I watched that film, and I couldn't really get, like, I was just like I love them as in the film, and also the more I watch their films is it's like, especially Leonardo DiCaprio, he takes his film, like every single film he does, I don't know, I can't find anything bad about that film. So he inspires me the most. And another actress, she's a Chinese actress. Her name is Gong Li. I don't know if you know of her, but she's like the Meryl Streep of China. So I really look up to her.
Oh, good. So, yeah, so I know what you mean. Titanic has been a hugely popular film. Here's one question we have coming in. It's someone wants to know what did the chocolate represent in the film? Did it represent anything more than just a gift?
It represent a Western culture, represent communist, not communist, capitalism.
Capitalist.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see with that. Okay, oh, good. Keep sending in the questions. Uh, what's next for you? What's your next project that you're working on?
Right now, I don't have any like film project is lining up, but I do work on some personal projects, and I trying to. I mean, I keep on auditioning, trying to keep on auditioning and working on my craft, and also I want to start write more. Like, I also like comedy a lot. Like, I'm trying to learn like to me, I think comedy is harder than drama. So I'm trying to work on comedy and like write more comedy sketches and stand up. So that's what I'm trying to work on right now.
Okay, well, good. Another question we have coming in is why was the film in black and white?
And I think black and white gives you the sense of feeling of being in that era, in at that like the time, because it's kind of period piece during China at that time. I think most of the things is black and white. I mean, even they don't even have TV. So if they had TV, it was black and white. So that black and white gives you the feeling of what's happening back then.
It understood. It definitely does. Another question is did your parents or grandparents experience the revolution? And if so, what was their reaction to the film?
And I asked when I was trying to study for the role and study for the film, and I asked my parents, I asked my mom, and she grew up in the countryside. So countryside, because the Cultural Revolution is all about people who are rich, people who are professors, people who owns land, all those like they call it a capitalist, and they're trying to fight against them. So so my mom and parents, they are farmers, so they didn't really get to experience that, and in terms of being uh, the targets. They're not the targets, but my mom said she watched it, someone being um, tortured or was like, because they are showing people, they literally will show people in the public, and have people like criticizing them in front of all the others, and she saw that, like, she was in the crowd, she witnessed that, but she was very little too, so she couldn't remember the details. So I was just talking to her like, do you understand what was happening? And she was like, no, I don't understand. But most of the people in the crowd doesn't really understand what's happening, but they just think, oh, that must be a bad guy, and because they think he's a bad guy, then everyone is like, yeah, he's bad, take him down and all that. So yeah, so my family didn't go through that, but they saw that. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting that to get hear their perspective of it. Another question we have coming in, and I think I know the answer to this, but someone wants to know which of the characters is lying in the film, because there's conflicting stories between you, your mother and father, and
And the dad was lying. Yeah, because he doesn't want me to get in trouble because um the chocolate was for me. Because if because the note in the chocolate, if they saw the chocolate, then they did not open the chocolate. If they opened the chocolate, they saw it was for me. But so and he lied in the end to cover me.
okay, well, good. Yes, that's what I thought. I appreciate you, Aaron, adding some clarification onto that. Another question, we have a couple minutes left, is Um, how did you prepare for the role, knowing that your acting parents were going to be executed? I mean, I guess that's kind of like a tough thing to do and try to
Yeah.
prepare for.
I watched a lot of documentaries, and because you have to put yourself in that kind of situation, and it's like, what would you do? Like, would you like trying to save yourself, or you will betray your family member to survive? And so during that time, a lot of people, and I asked other co-star and the lead, the person who played the mom. She grew up in China, so she witnessed a lot of that events happening too. So she knew like what was happening at that time. So she told me, yeah, a lot of kids would betray their family members to survive, because other either is all like the whole family is getting to jail or get punished or get killed, or you are the only one will survive. She said it's normal. It's not like now we don't think it's normal, but at that time it's the norm. So, and talking to people, hearing stories, reading articles, and watching documentaries kind of helped me to have that mentality in my head. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting, because yes, it goes with that saying that parents would do anything for their children, even willing to die for their children.
Yeah.
Okay. We are, running out of time. I had just one final question for you. We have a lot of students watching, and some people say, I want to be the next Chen Chen. But what advice would you give to students that are looking to pursue a career in acting?
And I came up with three advice. I came prepared. And I have three advice if you're really thinking about pursuing acting as a career in the future. Because career is different than the hobby. So I would like to talk on the career side. So the first advice I have for you is embrace yourself, embrace your differences from others, because in the end of the day, when you're going to the audition room and they're looking into to cast a role that they want to see they want to see you. They don't want to see you pretending to be anybody. So have that in you. So it's kind of your tool. That's the first advice. And second advice I have is, acting is not just an art, and because it's also has it's a business. That's why they call it a show business. And I wish I learned that earlier, and I didn't see it as so much of a business when I starting out as an actress, and now I start seeing it. And so I have a book that I can recommend you guys to read, and it's called How to Sell Yourself as an Actor by Kay Callan. And after reading that book, is like it's kind of that book was first originally published in 1988, and so some information is a little outdated, but a lot of things in that book talks about the a lifestyle of being an actor. Are you okay with the lifestyle of being an actor before you're famous, especially? And also, and talks about how like resumes, headshots, and find agents, and just like a step-by-step kind of a guideline. It's like acting 101, but the business side, which is very useful. I recommend that book. And the last advice, but not the least, I would like to say read more, like and scripts, plays, like books, anything about reading, because reading makes you think first of all, and also reading scripts makes you put in the perspective of understanding that like the whole film, the whole big picture. A lot of times when we audition, we only look at the characters, but when you read the whole script, you see the whole picture, so you know where the vision of the director is, and you kind of like you audition differently. It just in general, yeah.
That is some very, very good advice, especially the last point about reading. You digest information differently when you read
Yeah,
as opposed to watching or
yeah,
listening to
yeah,
something.
yeah. You came up with some imaginations on your own, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Chen Chen, thank you very, very much for joining us
Of
today.
course.
I
My
wish you
pleasure.
all the best with your career. We look forward to hopefully seeing you in more pieces. And I also want to thank our studio audience for joining us for this invigorating and important conversation. For more information about the upcoming 45th Cleveland International Film Festival, please continue to follow CIFF on social media and visit clevelandfilm.org. I'm Eric Siler. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.